This financial planner is telling you, don't save your money in a 401k. He actually has something better to do. This is the Mike Morton Podcast, Financial Life Planning. I'm Matt Robison, your host. Mike Morton is the owner of the podcast and my guest. Mike, how are you?
Always good to see you. Wait, I did not say don't save your money in a 401k. Are you sure that's what I said?
I'm pretty sure you said that you should take fistfuls of cash, go downtown and make it rain. Like literally just shower yourselves in dollars.
Oh,
no?
yeah, no.
All right, maybe I misunderstood you.
No, I'm supposed to put them on the bed and roll around in the cash. It's perfect.
Yes, it's like McBain says on The Simpsons, how do you sleep at night? On a pile of money with many beautiful ladies. You're not suggesting that. What you are suggesting is that there's something better to do than save for retirement in a 401k. Really?
Yeah. In fact, no, I mean somewhat really. But here's the upshot. The health savings account, Matt. So what I'm trying to get at here is you should use the health savings account, the HSA account, as a retirement account. Don't be a fool and get fooled by the word health in the health savings account and think you should be spending your health expenses today. No, that's the fool's game. Don't do that. Save the money in your HSA for your retirement.
I see. Don't judge a book by its cover. What you're saying, first of all, that's the stupidest advice ever, right? Like, the cover is a great way to find out what's inside a book. What you're saying is that when we call it a health savings account, I think we've talked about this idea before. That's a misnomer. It's much more of it may have been intended originally for health savings, but there's a lot more going on. You heart health savings accounts, right? You think they're awesome. Why are they
so
awesome?
Yeah, so we did talk about this, briefly in one of our most recent episodes, but I look back at the feed and I haven't dived into the topic of using the HSA for a little while. So I thought and I get this question all the time, Matt, because it is a strategy that I really like. And so, I thought we'd just cover that today, the why, and then some of the nuts and bolts, about doing it. So the health savings account, the reason it's my favorite account is you never pay taxes on the money. Everywhere else in your life, whenever you make some income or you get some gain, the U.S. government and state governments are there. Okay, we'll take a little bit of that gain, that income, you made some money. But this is the only account, the IRS has rules where you can use this and never pay taxes on the money.
That's amazing. So what you're saying is there are two sure things in life, death and taxes, and you found a way out of one. What's the way that we can prevent people from dying?
Oh, that's a different episode, Matt. Maybe next week.
Different episode. That's why you need to subscribe to Financial Life Planning. Okay, so lest my little joke at the top send people truly in the wrong direction, you do like 401ks. I mean, they are great for what they're
Love
worth.
them. Love the 401k. And we've talked about this in the past. We'll probably do another episode, Matt, in the feed in the future about what we call the waterfall, where to save the next dollar. Hey, Mike, if I have like another dollar, where should I save that? And the first place is, of course, pay off any really high interest debt. I'm just saying saving in this episode, but that's always a place to start. If you have any high interest debt, you want to get rid of that card debt, comes to mind. But then when you're ready to save, the first place that you want to look for is an employer retirement, often a 401k plan. And the reason why is because many employers will match some of your initial savings, 3%, 6% of what you save. And that's just free money. You're just doubling your money. And so we definitely want to take advantage of that. So the first place to save is in your 401k up to the match. Okay. But after that, the next place to look is either going to be an HSA, or I do love the Roth IRA. So I kind of make it 50-50, but one of those two is where you want to save the next amount. And today we're talking about the HSA.
Got it. So a future episode here is going to be a Kumite-style death match between the Roth IRA and the HSA, and two funds enter, one fund leaves. That sounds like a lot of fun. Okay, so 401k, just to sting that point for a second, 401k is awesome because if your company will do this and they'll match free money, it almost sounds like one of those too good to be true type things. It's like, you can double your money. It's you actually can double your money. So do that. Like, even I am lucid enough to understand free money is good.
That's right.
All right. But that said, there are advantages to the HSA over. So like, I've done that, right? I've done the 401k match. My company says we'll give you up to 3% or up to 5%. Slide, well, that's standard,
Yep.
right? Like maybe it's full up to 3%, partial up to 5%. Great. I've maxed out those dollars. But then back to that waterfall, you said that there's like ways to decide on your next dollar, and you're saying stop there. Now look at the HSA.
That's right. Yeah. So you do the match, get the free money, but then you want to look at your individual retirement accounts, the Roth IRA or traditional IRA, and your HSA, saving there before maxing out your 401k. And the reason why is you just have more control. Well, the HSA we're going to talk about today, better tax benefits. So that's why we say the HSA. But even the Roth IRA, if you had a Roth 401k, you're like, why don't I just put it in the Roth 401k? Why do I put it in the Roth IRA? Seems like it's kind of the same. You just have more control over your IRAs. You do your 401ks. And so that's the reason to save the money there, especially when it comes to a Roth IRA.
I see.
There's even more rules. You can use it for all kinds of stuff and pull the contributions out if you have to. So it's more flexible.
Why do you never pay taxes on your HSA? I know that this is getting to your whole, don't be fooled by the fact that it says health, but that's weird. Why?
Well, that's in your domain, Matt. You worked on Capitol Hill. Why they decided to, make it never pay taxes? I have no idea. But, I'd always said triple tax benefits. And maybe people get that, but a lot of people probably glaze over like, okay, that sounds better than double tax, but I don't really know what that means. But, in today's episode, right at the top, you never pay taxes on the money flowing through your HSA. You never pay taxes.
I actually do like your branding around you never pay taxes better than triple tax benefits, because triple tax benefits sounds like you're coming to market with 7-minute abs and someone's going to say, what about 6
That's right.
abs? It's like, what about quadruple tax benefits? Can't I get another one? Oh, all right. We'll just let that question be begged. Like, why did I actually told this story in another episode? I'm not going to repeat it and belabor it here. You just have to pick your way through the awesome Mike Morton podcast feed to find that incredible backstory of why Congress decided to do this incredible thing. It's you get a get out of jail free card, no taxes for you. But okay, just walk me through this. So I can get conceptually, no taxes is better than some taxes, but is it really a substantial difference?
So here's what happens. Let's just talk about the different places you could save that next dollar really briefly, and then I'll dive into some of the, how to use the HSA, because we want to get to that, like how we're going to actually, do this and never pay taxes on the money. Your traditional your 401k, right, is pre-tax. And so you don't pay the taxes now. So it's great. If you put in a chunk of money, then you can save on taxes today. So right now, the HSA, you can put in $7,300. So you put in, in your 401k, instead you save the $7,300. You get to not pay taxes now if you put that in a 401k. That's great. And so you'd save a couple $1,000. And the Roth, you're thinking, oh, but Roth is really great. Roth doesn't do that. It doesn't save that couple $1,000. So right off the bat, HSA better than the Roth account, because you'd be paying taxes on that money. Okay? The second thing is tax the other end when you take the money out. Well, when you take it out of a traditional account, that's when you're going to pay taxes. Could be thousands of dollars or tens of thousands once it's grown. It could be $10,000 you're paying taxes. Whereas the Roth, you don't have to pay it there. It's great. But the traditional 401k, you're paying $10,000 in taxes 20 years from now. HSA, nope, no taxes. So better than the 401k, better than the Roth, you don't pay taxes now. Better than the 401k, you're not paying taxes in the future. It's better than just saving it in your checking or savings account, because that account, you're paying taxes every year. All those interest and dividends, and everyone's filling out taxes right now, Matt, because we're recording this like 4 days before taxes are due. So you have interest and dividends. Yeah.
By the time people hear this, it'll be over.
Don't worry, it'll be over by then.
But here's the great thing about taxes. It's like appetites. Another one is coming right up.
That's right. So, it's better than those taxable saving, the checking or saving or brokerage account, because you're constantly paying taxes. It's got to drag every single year. It's kind of one of the worst places to be saving money. And so there, HSA beats that one too. So that's why we say triple tax benefits, but much better. You're never paying taxes. And that's how it beats the traditional 401k. It beats the Roth, and it beats just your brokerage account.
I also think I see what you just did there. If I'm counting right, you had 3 things. there,
There
right?
you go.
Like, was that the triple tax
There you go,
benefits?
man.
So you have tax savings now, tax savings later, and like the creamy Oreo center along the way in the middle, you save on taxes. So you like what are we talking about, like dollars wise?
Oh, I mean, this is where it's kind of hard to predict because what you want to do is invest the money, right? So I told you 7,300 is what is a family limit for last year. So you could save a couple $1,000s on taxes by not paying taxes on that 7,300 if you're in the 24% bracket. So yeah, you get a couple thousand savings but you get that in the traditional, right? We just said, oh yeah, traditional, same thing. You don't have to pay taxes now, so that's really nice. But then depending on what you invested in, right, and it grows tax free, it could be tens of thousands of dollars from a single $7,000 contribution over next 20 years. You could save over $10,000 just in taxes, just from that one yearly contribution, and you can do this every single year.
Wow! And then so it's 2,000 right up front, up to just in this example 10,000 later, and then along the way you don't have that drag. Right. You're talking what, another few
thousands of dollars.
there.
Yeah, that'd be a long tax drag. So, tax drag, we should have an episode on this, Matt, because people don't quite realize that saving in your checking and savings or brokerage account, I just said was kind of the worst way of saving money. That's why, when financial planners are talking, it's like, use your HSA, use your IRAs, use your 401ks, the 403bs. Like we have this soup of, different account types, and you want to use them all because the taxes are massive, man. And if you just save $5,000 in that brokerage account and you invest it for the future, the drag, I'm using the word drag, it's a few percent, that compounds massively over 20 years. We'll put a pin in that, Matt. We should go through some of these different types, but
that's actually no, totally. That's actually much worse than what I thought you were referring to when you're talking about tax drag, which is your taxes getting dressed up in a dress and singing Judy Garland tunes. So the moral of the story here, though, those triple tax benefits, maybe I'm back to that brand.
There you go.
That has its charms, because in your numerical example, if I'm following you correctly, the simple choice, that waterfall, it's okay, I've maxed out on the 401k. Now I can save up to $7,300 this year. I'm going to do it in an HSA. That one choice to put that $7,300 will save you $15,000 under your example in taxes. That's unbelievable. It's like you're saving $7,300, and by not paying taxes, you're making another $15,000. It's like you're tripling your money. It's unbelievable.
It's compound. But yeah, that's exactly right, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. But then again, remember,
that's pretty substantial.
A stick of gum is going to cost, $50. So,
Well, again, in the long run, we're all
that's
dead.
Right.
Except if we use the one weird trick that you're going to tell us.
You got that right. So stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned, baby. All right. Yeah. I feel I should give a legal disclaimer. We are not actually going to tell you how to.
Wait, I do know. Wait,
okay.
Hold on a sec. I know all kinds of tips and tricks about how to live longer and live healthier and potentially.
I didn't say longer. I didn't say longer. I said.
Don't you know the exit theory where if we can just add a year of life every single year, you've reached escape velocity and no one ever dies?
Is that what happened in that documentary, The Highlander?
Yeah, the documentary, yeah.
Sort of,
but it was kind of different. It wasn't so much scientific in that case. Just a lot of swords.
Well, potato. All right. You've sold me that I want to triple my money. I want to put in $7,000 and somehow magically end up with $22,000 ahead, better off in 20 years.
There you go.
How do I do it?
So first and foremost, this is tied to your health insurance and health insurance accounts. So health insurance first, all right? Disclaimer, always get the right kind of insurance for you and your family based on your needs. All right. Lots of employers offer multiple different types, so there's some review, there's open enrollment and all that stuff. I've reviewed tons of these plans, Matt. So always look at insurance first, all right, for you and your family based on your needs. But some of the insurances, high deductible plans, can come with an HSA. All right. And so that's what we're looking at when you're comparing potential options for you and your family. If there's one, a high deductible health plan with an HSA, it'll have that phrasing in there with HSA. Just look for those HSA. Compare that, and if it can be an insurance that's going to be right for you and your family, I highly recommend getting high deductible health plan with an HSA account. All right. So the HSA comes only with those types of insurance plans. Are you ready to create your ideal lifestyle? Let's discover what's most important to you and design a plan to have more of that in your life. Go to meetmikemorton.com. All one word, meetmikemorton.com.
So that's a really big caveat here, though, because for many people, they don't want that kind of, that's the whole point of insurance, is to smooth out the risk and the uncertainty that you will face a large medical bill. And some of these what that means, a high deductible plan. I mean, you can explain this better than I, but a high deductible plan means that you could be hit with a major medical expense and have to pay a lot of that out of pocket. And the reason I said I wasn't going to get too much into the weeds on why Congress set it up this way, but that was ostensibly the reason, is that you could save your own money, and instead of having insurance cover it and all that goes with insurance, pooling and risk spreading, instead you could save now and spend your own money later. So if you make this decision and you go down this road, I think the way you worded that is extremely important. You need to make sure that you're comfortable and fully understand what goes with the choice of a plan like that, and the fact that it is a trade-off, and that you would be having a high deductible plan. And maybe that is good for you. Maybe
I'll mention two things though, and then we got to move on because we could spend all day like the insurance question, like what are the caveats, pros and cons. One, when companies often put money into the HSA for you. So for taking that trade-off, like, hey, I might owe more out of pocket, but your company is giving you a few $1,000s. Okay, so it might come out kind of even for you personally, even if the deductible is higher. The other thing is, Matt, when you look at the premiums and deductibles, I find a lot of times it's not that different. Okay, in terms of your total out of pocket, it sounds a priori that you're saying, oh yeah, your deductible's higher, so if you have medical expenses, you're going to be paying more to hit that deductible. But when you factor in the premiums that go along with it, it might not be. So really, like, that's why the high deductible plans are actually pretty good looking, because the premiums are really low. Your company's kicking in some dollars. So anyway, check them out.
Right. No, there could be situations. Absolutely. I'm not trying to extol the virtues of maximizing the level of insurance, optimizing for low deductibles. That's not right for everyone. And there are certainly going to be listeners and viewers in the situation where, given their medical profile, it's a very appropriate choice. It just may not be, it's an important caveat. It not be the right term.
Yeah. And the sad part is, like, it's hard to analyze. Do the best you can and try to spend some effort. But anyway, if you can get, check your choices. If you can look at the high deductible with an HSA, go for that if you can, if it makes sense for you and your family. Then how do you use that? So now you have this HSA. Remember, an HSA, health savings account, is your account. It's owned by you. So it's kind of like an individual retirement account or a brokerage account. It's got your name on it. And any dollars that are in there are your dollars. So it's not like the company's, or the 401k that's kind of tied to the company. It's your account. So even if the company contributes money, or if you contribute money, then it's just all 100% your account, like you own that thing. So the company might put in money, all right? And then you can also put in money either from your paycheck or at the end of the year or throughout the year. And I recommend maxing out the amount that you can put in between your company and yourself. There's limits every year. They change. So, it was $7,300 last year for a family, $3,500, $3,600 for an individual. You got to look it up every year, but maximize those contributions every year, because you can't go back and add more to it. All right. So that's step 2. You got the high deductible with an HSA. You got the account open. Your employer's putting in some money. You can also top it up, and you want to make sure you contribute the maximum amount each year. Then from there,
Great. And now you've got it. You're set up.
Yeah.
Now what?
So now you got the amount, you got the account in your name, you got the money flowing in there. Now we want to invest it for the future. We don't want to leave that just sitting in cash. So all these places, Health Equity, or I'm blanking on a bunch of the names that HSA, my HSA, there's a bunch of different ones. So wherever it is, you have your login, you can see the balance. They'll also have choices you can invest the money. All right. So highly recommend, if you're going to do this for long term, you got to know your own risk profile, blah, 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 caveats, disclosures. But you can invest this for the future like you do your 401k. So you can put money in low cost index funds. There'll be a variety of them. Choose ones appropriate for you. You can invest this money for the future. We were just throwing out like, hey, maybe you're going to spend it in 20 years from now. So go ahead and make investment choices. Make sense for you in low cost index funds that will stay in there, for 5, 10, 15, 20 years.
Got it.
So pretty simple.
And then,
yeah. So that's same as kind of your 401k IRA. Got the money in, you made the investments. You do it once a year, every quarter or whenever the money gets put in there. Boom, just add some more investments. Then what you want?
Account, max out.
Yep.
Invest.
Account, max out, invest. Then finally, you want to save receipts for current medical expenses. All right. Now with this account, to get the tax benefit on the way out, the way in, no taxes. Investing, no taxes. To get the tax benefit when you withdraw the money, needs to be for a qualified medical expense. Matt, we're currently pretty healthy guys, right? Do you think the two of us are going to have medical expenses down the road, maybe 10, 20, 30 years from now?
I need a knee replacement in 5 years, man.
Exactly. So I'm pretty sure, we got death and taxes. I'm also sure that health costs are rising, and we're going to still continue to take advantage of needing health, paying for health costs in the future. So we'll definitely have a need for this money. All right. So that's one. You can use it for those future expenses, and you're probably going to have stuff that you're going to be paying for. The other cool thing, Matt, is you can pay yourself back for previous medical expenses. Previous if you have the HSA. So not like if you're opening it this year, you can't do it for things 2 years ago. But today you've got the account, you opened it, you're putting in money, you invested it, you're saving your receipts for current medical expenses. All right. And I put it kind of the bigger expenses, like if you have a bigger bill, take a picture of it, just throw it in a digital folder or a photo album or whatever, and label it. And down the road, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, instead of paying yourself the $1,000, instead of paying that medical bill today, $1,000, you pay it out of just your brokerage or checking account. Okay. You've invested the money. It's going to double or triple over 10, 20 years. And then you're going to pay yourself back that $1,000. So you save all your receipts and you can pay yourself back. You can withdraw the money and pay yourself back for medical expenses that you had while you had the HSA.
Well, that's it. This does require, look, your first 2 steps, not that hard. Caveat understood about you've got to make that decision about the type of health insurance. If you've gotten that decision, maxing out your contributions, not that hard. Selecting the investment, not that hard. The one thing this does require from you, it sounds like, is a little bit of prior planning, and you've got to hold on to those receipts. So there's a little bit of, you've got to set up a system. This isn't quite as fire it and forget it as other types of investments that we talk about.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So that one is kind of a pain. So you could do, you can set up something that you just kind of do it every time. As some clients, it's like, just if there's major stuff, thousands, we'll take pictures of that and kind of keep track of that. So whatever works for you. But it adds up over time. Thousands of dollars a year. You got multiple kids, you got stuff going on. Saving those receipts in 10 or 20 years, you could have $30,000 of regular kind of expenses that you can, again, pay yourself back. You invested the money, allow it to grow, you can pay yourself back. So that one is more of a pain, but it's a really great use. All right. Then finally, as we get into the end here, what I want to highlight is we said, we're going to have Matt and I are going to have medical expenses in the future. We're definitely going to be able to use that money. Mike, what if there's money left over in my HSA? What if I did such a great job? I saved it and my investments were crazy good and there's money left over.
So you avoided taxes, but you didn't avoid
death. That's right. Exactly. So you have leftover money and you just don't have the medical expenses or whatever. In the worst case scenario, this works just like your traditional 401k. Okay, so in the worst case scenario, the worst case being I have money that I didn't expect to have left over. Okay, we talk about this with the 529s. This is not a very bad scenario. And no one I've run across, Matt, has said, Mike, I have a real problem. I have an extra $50,000 I was expecting to have spent. So in the worst case, it's just like your traditional 401k. You put the money in tax-free, it grew tax-free. When you withdraw it, you pay taxes at that time, but no penalty. Okay, so no penalties or anything like that. Just works just like your traditional 401k would have worked.
Wow. So there really is like a, get out of jail free, but you have a free path essentially to no harm, no foul. You pay the taxes, and it's as if you hadn't done this whole maneuver in the first place. So
now,
there's not really a downside.
Correct. Small caveat, you got to be over a certain age to be able to do that. So if you were like 3 years from now, I just need the money. That's the other thing is like make sure all of these accounts, all right, when we talk about 401ks and IRAs and HSAs, when you put money in, it can be harder to get it out in the near term, okay? And there could be penalties associated with it. So make sure that you have other buckets of money. Like if I just told you to pay your medical expenses from your checking or savings account, all right? So make sure you have money to be able to do that each year, right? It's a big caveat too. Make sure that you have a plan for where the money is going. Take advantage if you can, because you're getting major tax benefits, but make sure that you have other accounts that you can be spending in the near term or from your income or whatever it is.
Awesome. All right. Lot to chew on there. Definitely some homework. And look, there are steps and some major decisions, including around your health insurance to make around this. So obviously, as always, we want to reinforce that you should talk to a financial advisor, get the kind of advice that you need to set this up. Don't just take our word for it, but definitely continue listening to the shows, especially the upcoming one about how you can live forever. Mike Morton, thanks so much.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for joining us on Financial Planning for Entrepreneurs. If you like what you heard, please subscribe to and rate the podcast on Apple iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can connect with me at LinkedIn or mortonfinancialadvice.com. I'd love to get your feedback. If you have a comment or question, please email me at financialplanningpod@gmail.com. Until next time, thanks for tuning in. This recording is for informational purposes only and should not be considered for investment advice. Opinions expressed as are of the date of recording. Such opinions are subject to change. We do not guarantee the accuracy or completeness of the data presented here.